They said after 3 episodes, if you generate enough revenue or enough signups on our website, you know, maybe we'll extend your contract. True story. The first episode that dropped where I had the Skillshare sponsorship, I generated so many signups. Mind you, that episode only got like 20,000 views on YouTube. I generated so many signups, they got rid of the probation period and they extended my contract to a year. So the first question comes from Trap God Nah. I actually took this question out of YouTube because I took this out of the YouTube comments because I uploaded a segment of my podcast, which, by the way, the segments on my podcast do better than like the actual podcast. I really wish y'all would support the content that y'all ask for. That's why I started breaking down the content into sections, because it's just easier to absorb for some people. People don't like, a lot of people who are not watching my podcast, they don't know that I tell stories all the fucking time. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to call it a Black Guy Tales. We're going to call it a story time instead of a podcast, since you refuse to click the fucking video. One of the videos I upload has almost 40,000 views in the first day, which is great for me. The first like 24 hours or whatever. That's not the point. He left a comment on that video where I was talking about what was I talking about? Oh, why I quit my job. And in that segment of the podcast, I was talking about how like one episode of the podcast pays my rent for the month. Which, what I was saying, just to kind of further articulate that, I wasn't saying, because I think some people might have took me out of context, I wasn't saying one podcast pays my rent for the entire year. I'm saying, let's say I do 2 podcasts a month. One of those podcasts will pay my, like, the ads that I get from it, that can pay my rent. Meaning the rest of the money that I make off my podcast, off my Twitch streams, off of Twitter and Instagram, and YouTube, I pocket that money. And to further elaborate, he asked in the YouTube comments, I don't think he was being malice. He was just genuinely curious. So I wanted to answer the question and just kind of archive it for the podcast, maybe turn this into a video segment. He said, how do you pay your rent off of one podcast? You average 30,000 views of video, unless it's off Twitch and Spotify combined. And my answer to that is, not everything is black and white. I know that a lot of your favorite YouTubers, and I'm specifically talking about YouTubers, I know a lot of your favorite YouTubers like to flaunt and act like they're rich, but some of them are not. I don't want to. Some of them are, but some of them are not. Just because, one thing you guys gotta understand is, just because you have 1 million subscribers and 1 million views does not mean you're making millions of dollars. And this is why, personally for me, it never hurt my feelings. I get comments all the time talking about my channel's dead. You like this dude said, like, he's not saying my channel's dead, but he says you only average 30,000 views, which, by the way, if you look at my channel, I average 30,000 views like in the first week of a video. If you look at that video a year from now, usually it has 100,000 views. That's another thing y'all gotta understand. I really hate when people do that. They compare a video. They be comparing videos that I made 5 years ago to a video that just dropped yesterday. If I got 30,000 views in 24 hours, that means in the next year, more than likely, it's probably going to have 100,000 views. But you're looking at a video from 4 or 5 years ago with 200,000 views. It's because it had years to accumulate those views. But that's beside the point. I've never been, I'm more of a niche content creator. I've never been a person that gets tons of views right off a rip. I make long tail content, that stuff that people always can vibe with. It's not flash in the pan, gimmicky shit. But that's beside the point. You average 30,000 views a video. How do you pay the rent or whatever? Like I said, just because somebody has millions of views doesn't mean they know, they're business savvy, they know how to make money. Or like the content they make, just because you're getting millions of views doesn't mean the content you make warrant sponsorships. I'm not saying it is, but I would imagine it's harder to get sponsorships. Actually, you know what? I don't even want to open that can of worms because I don't want them niggas in my fucking comment section. Forget that. Scratch that. All right. So to be more specific to what you're saying, 30,000 views. How do you pay your rent with that? I don't want to go into like specific numbers, but I can tell you right now that like per hour on Twitch, I've been averaging like 1,000 people in my fucking chat per hour. I'm not saying this is what I make on every, because then you niggas gonna be pocket watching. I don't want you all my money. How can I say this without? All right, check it out. Advertisers will pay more for somebody who has influence versus somebody who just has numbers. I'm sorry I've been like beating around the bush. I just want you motherfuckers all in my pockets, because one thing about people on the internet is you can't, the moment they find out how much money you make, then they'll use that as an excuse not to support you, or they'll think you make too much, because what people have very low standards. Like for me, I don't feel like I make enough, or I don't feel like I've been successful enough. So I'm always striving and trying to do better. But somebody might hear how much you make and they'll be like, oh, he good, I ain't supporting him, versus somebody that just don't, I ain't in the pocket watch. Fucking anyways. An advertiser will pay for somebody who can prove they have influence versus somebody who can't. So let's say influencer A averages 1 million views a video, and me, I average 30,000 views a video. If 15,000 of those 30,000 people will buy a t-shirt, the advertiser will pay for my 30,000 views versus that person who gets 1 million views per video and nobody buys their t-shirts. And I bring that up to say that, like, the world is not black and white. Like, just because you have a bunch of views doesn't mean you're respected. A lot of people have a lot of views, and y'all know this shit because y'all leave these comments in my fucking videos all the time. A lot of people have a lot of views because they clickbait and they use gimmicks. That doesn't make them influential. I have, whether you agree with I know you guys don't agree with everything that I say, but I know you guys respect my opinion, and that matters. You may not agree with everything that I say, but you do respect me, and you know that it's coming from an honest place. This is how I truly feel about things. I'm not just shilling and doing stupid shit for fucking views. And an example I can give you of, the best example off the top of my head that I can give you of how someone can have tons of followers and have no influence is like these chicks on Instagram. It's a lot of women on Instagram, fine as hell, big booties, fat titties, luscious lips. Most of it's fake. Shout out to the natural chicks. But that's beside the point. A lot of those chicks have hundreds of thousands of followers, have millions of followers. Most of them are thirsty men. Some of them are just women that admire beautiful women like us. But most of them, let's be real, are thirsty men. And let's keep this shit a buck. Shorty could have 2.5 million followers and she's selling a t-shirt. Most of you dudes will not buy that t-shirt. And do you know why? Because some of you will, but most of you will not buy a t-shirt from her because you don't give a fuck what she has to say. Oh, you selling t-shirts? Babe, when you gonna drop another picture or another video you twerking that ass, showing them titties? That's what y'all care about. That's not influence. They're selling pussy. And you notice a lot of them can only pay their rent through their OnlyFans because they selling pussy. And I'm not knocking that hustle. Do what you want, which is sell that pussy, girl. That's the oldest form of business right there. Somebody got to sell it. I ain't knocking the hustle. All I'm saying is you notice a lot of those chicks do not have true influence. How many of you niggas bought a Bang energy drink because some big booty bitch said, you know, I'm Bang energy drink, I drink it. You know they don't drink that shit. You don't respect what they have to say. You just looking at they ass, dog. And that's just like that's like an easy example that I can think of. I can think of some more, but I feel like it'll ruffle a lot of people's feathers, and I'm really not in the mood for. It's not that I care about that smoke. I'm for the smoke. It's more so I'm not in the mood to hear that people's mouths and shit like that. But that's like the easiest one I could think of. Like y'all don't care what a lot of these chicks have to say. Some of you might have bought some merch from an IG model, but most of you will not buy anything. Most of the time they sell stuff that other women will buy, like the slim. Actually, I don't even know. Do women buy them slimming tummy tees or whatever that shit? Do they buy that shit? I don't know. I know personally, I ain't buying no merch or nothing off none of these chicks. I'm just there to get on Instagram and double tap that ass. That's all I'm there for. So that's an example of how there are plenty of people that have influence, There are plenty of people who have tons of followers and no influence. What I'm basically trying to describe to you is what's referred to as a niche. Just because someone's smaller does not mean they're influential. Somebody who's smaller can actually be more influential than somebody who's bigger. And that's what I was trying to explain in one other video. Somebody, I forgot what video it was, but I was talking about how I've influenced a lot of like black YouTubers. I don't know any other, like, there was when I first started doing YouTube in the gaming space, there was like rarely any other black content creators that did gaming videos. I'm very influential in this space, and just because I don't have millions of followers, like, because some of these people have surpassed me, and I'm not even knocking them. Like, I congratulate you. I walk so you can fly. You cannot deny that I don't have a certain level of influence on some of these other content. I ain't even gonna say no fucking names because you see this shit. Niggas be stealing my fucking thumbnails, fucking my video ideas. They talk like me. And just because they're bigger than me, you think that I didn't influence them? I feel bad for people who think like that. Like, that's such a elementary way of thinking. You can be influential and not be the biggest person in the world. The reality is, one of my biggest problems is I'm almost too real. Like, I don't play politics. I don't do the gimmicks. I don't do none of that dumb shit. And it hinders me. The reality is people will say that they like real shit until they see it. Y'all like gimmicks. Y'all like stupid shit. You like drama, because if you didn't, fucking love and hip hop wouldn't exist anymore. So let's not do that. That's beside the point. What I was talking about. The 30,000 thing. That's how. Just because you don't have a certain amount of viewers doesn't mean you're not influential. So I always tell people, don't put yourself down. An advertiser will pay for those 10,000 views if you could sell 5,000 units, if you could sell 2,000 units. Because let's do the math here. Let's see. Let me get a calculator out here. Okay. Let's say you average 10,000 views on a video, right? And you're confident that at least 2,000 of those viewers will buy something. Let's see, a shirt's $25 times 2,000. That's $50,000. That's $50,000. Most of you have never even touched $50,000 or seen that in your bank account. You don't think advertisers will pay for that? I'm saying, like, being creative and being business savvy are two different things. And over the last probably 5 years, I've spent a lot of my time becoming more business savvy. I may not be the biggest content creator on this platform, but I'm much more business savvy than some of your favorite content creators. I might be doing financially better than some of your favorite content creators that have millions of views. And that has to do with me taking the time to learn things, surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me, that nerd. Oh, I didn't even show y'all. Hold up. So y'all think I'm lying. there's the 50,000 that I brought on the damn calculator. Just so y'all don't think I'm lying. You got to become more business savvy. Don't just be creative. There was one more thing that I wanted to add to this. What else was it? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The key thing is, don't beat yourself up just because you're not the biggest creator. The key is you want to learn how to articulate yourself. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in the last 5 years really learning business. You want to learn how to articulate yourself and your value. And the thing is, like, it could be, keep track of your stats. Let's say you do something as simple as, like, I don't know. You notice how everybody gets like an affiliate code for different brands. Let's say you get an affiliate code for G Fuel, or I don't know, some gaming chair or whatever. When you get that affiliate code for whatever t-shirt or product that you're promoting, at the end of every month, send that company an email and be like, hey, can I see the numbers? Can I see how many sales that I've generated? Do that for every fucking affiliate code, because that's how you start off. That's how you build up your resume, I guess you can say. Request those numbers, and then you can use those numbers to flip it. Be like, okay, well, I've been averaging X amount of views, and according to your data, over the last 6 months, I've generated over, 5,000 sales. I may not be the biggest content creator, but I have the proof that I have generated it through my affiliate code. So I'm going to need X amount of money paid to me per month, plus an affiliate code that I get paid off commission, if that makes sense. So that's the easiest way I think that you can build up kind of like a resume. Like, that's a really popular thing in the content creation, getting affiliate codes for different brands and stuff. Use those the thing about affiliate codes is often the brand gets more out of it, but you can get more out of it if you take the time to really stretch that extra amount. Request your numbers, see what revenue you're generating for that company, write all this shit down and start building up a resume. I hope that helped. An actual example I can give you is Skillshare. So I just started this podcast like last year. And the first brand to give me an opportunity was Skillshare. They put me on a 3-episode. I can't go into all the details like how much I'm paid and stuff in the contract, but originally they put me on a 3-episode trial. They put me on probation, and they said after 3 episodes, if you generate enough revenue or enough signups on our website, maybe we'll extend your contract. True story. The first episode that dropped where I had the Skillshare sponsorship, I generated so many signups. Mind you, that episode only got like 20,000 views on YouTube. I generated so many signups. They got rid of the probation period, and they extended my contract to a year. I didn't even have to do probation. I did 1 episode. So many of y'all signed up for Skillshare because I have real influence. They said, fuck that. We're going to give him a 1-year contract for X amount of money every month. And part of that is because I have influence, but of course you guys supported me, and I appreciate y'all. Like that, I appreciate when you guys do things like that, when you hit the like button. And another thing is like I said, like respect. I don't co-sign anything that I don't like. So like you'll be more inclined to listen to me. It's like Smack says, you can copy the formula, but you can't copy the respect. There are a lot of people out there that get more views than me, but they don't have the same level of respect for me as me. When I tell you something works, you'll listen to me more than other people, because you know I don't be on that bullshit. So like that's an example, an actual example for me with Skillshare. And if I could just give like a life lesson, I wrote this down. Like one of the best life lessons that I learned, because like the way that you presented this question, and I would imagine a lot of people think the same way as you. You think very black and white. Oh, this person gets millions of views, so they must make millions of dollars. No. A life lesson that I can give to you, one of the best ones that I got was when I used to play soccer back when I was a kid, or football if you're not from America. When I used to play soccer, there's something that's called a drop pass in the game. The field is very large and wide, the pitch. And of course you have to move the ball forward to get it into the goal. But in soccer, they have what's called a drop pass, where if you ever paid attention to a soccer game, they pass the ball backwards sometimes. The reason you pass the ball backwards is because a lot of times like defenders will attack you while you're trying to move forward, and there's no way for you to move forward. So you have to push the ball back to a teammate. Then the teammate assesses the field, and then, I don't know, you push the ball right and forward. Because there's more space on that side and there's less defenders over there, if that makes sense. I guess what I'm trying to say to you is like, I'm very appreciative that I played soccer, because that drop pass taught me a life lessons in a sense that sometimes you got to fall back and look at the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture here. More views do not equal more money. The world is not black and white. And stop talking down on people. This is for people in the comments. Stop talking down on people because you think you understand. It's always the people that think they understand the most that don't know shit. I hope I gave you a little bit of insight on business. I can't go 100% into all the details, but I feel like I gave you a little bit.